This is about perception, how we see things in life. And remember, the way that 50 Cent sees the world is different than most people. 50 Cent has mentioned throughout his book, in his words, I don't see it that way. That's a clue right there. It's not about love. It's not about chance. It's not about who you know. It's about life through your looking glass, how you see it. Perception. Because it is your perception that will determine how you will behave. Either you will give up because it's difficult, or you will continue because this is a part of the process. I hope I got that across, because if your mental attitude isn't in place, then nothing else matters. But let's move forward. So the second idea on becoming fearless, as 50 mentions, is facing your fears head on. This is about taking action, moving towards that which you fear. Don't allow yourself to get comfortable being scared. Success is a numbers game. Take massive action. Experience will give you confidence. It will give you an education. Now, if your fear is paralyzing you, meaning you are so scared to the point where you can't even move, then there's still a way to take action. Here are some suggestions. Write it out. Ask yourself as a journal prompt, regardless of the fear, if this were easy, what would it look like? Do this every day. Don't underestimate this activity. What's happening here is when you write it out, you are visualizing on paper your outcome. You're playing the game on a mental level. You're making the unfamiliar familiar. Your mind doesn't even know the difference between that which is real and that which you imagine. Think of your paycheck. Or think of getting your paycheck on a Thursday, but you normally get paid on Friday. And then all of a sudden you get happy. When Friday comes, you're jumping with joy because it's payday. And then your boss tells you, hey, we just got paid last Friday, and reminds you that payday is actually next Friday, bi-weekly. The picture in your mind getting paid quickly vanishes, and you snap your fingers as if you were in a different dimension and finally decide to return to reality. Damn it. So let's examine just what happened. You imagine an outcome, you visualize in your head about getting paid, and your mind didn't know the difference. It sent you an emotional response. We can all agree that was real. That's the power of visualization. That's the power you can use to make anything in your life that is unfamiliar now familiar. What once made you uncomfortable, now it's comfortable. They use it in sports psychology all the time. It's called mental rehearsal. So you can borrow this idea and use it for yourself intentionally. Now let's talk about the third idea on becoming fearless. 50 Cent mentioned, raise your hand. People who raise their hands in class seem to always be raising their hands whenever a question is asked. That's also true for a person who doesn't raise their hand, and it isn't because that person didn't know the answer. Not always. One may be afraid of getting the answer wrong, while the other hope they might have the answer. In both cases, both people are comfortable participating or not participating. This becomes a habit not only in action but also in thought. Your attitude on fearlessness needs to also become a habit. Just because you started the business or exercise every day doesn't mean you now have a fearless attitude. It's an attitude that has to be practiced. Only then will it become a habitual way of behaving. It's a learned behavior. Here's an exercise that you can do to strengthen your fearlessness. So make a list of the things that you are afraid of and move towards them mentally and physically. Maybe you're afraid of exercising. Get up and let that be the first thing you do in the morning. Afraid of public speaking? Well, imagine an audience in your mind and start speaking about whatever interests you. Afraid of failure? Create a YouTube channel. Afraid of asking for a raise? Mentally rehearse. How are you going to ask for it? Afraid of skydiving? Rather than seeing yourself falling, picture yourself enjoying the thrill of it. See it as an adventure. Remember, everything is perception. What are some of the things that you are afraid of? Comment below. The whole idea is to develop and strengthen your fearlessness. And it's through this habitual thinking that causes us to be comfortable participating or not participating in life, comfortable in being afraid or comfortable in taking responsibility, in taking action or running away from it. Fearlessness, remember, is an attitude of the mind, a habit of seeing things a certain way. So every opportunity you get, practice approaching the situation with a fearless attitude. If there aren't any for that day, don't wait for things to come your way. Create those opportunities. Create your habits until your habits create you. So let's recap. We went over a lot. We talked about fear. It's an emotional response that puts us in a fight or flight mode. We talk about fearlessness, that it's not the absence of fear but moving towards it, not being comfortable with it. It's the attitude of the mind that we're choosing to put ourselves in that fight mode. So instead of always fleeing, we're fighting. We talked about it's important. Freedom is on the other side. We also went over some ideas on how you can develop this attitude of fearlessness. One other thing I forgot to mention is that is very important is that for you to change your language. Stop saying you're scared. Stop talking about your fears. Stop the negative self-talk that's chattering inside your head. Don't have a mismatch in your thinking and doing. Replace it with a mantra. Replace it with affirmation. Replace it with something positive. I am fearless. I am unstoppable. I am responsible for everything in my life. I love this. Whatever resonates with you. Whatever it is. Align your thoughts with your actions. Make this easy for yourself. You want to move your thoughts and your actions in the same direction. It's where your beliefs and your actions are on the same page. It's called congruency. So the bottom line, being fearless is not about being 50 Cent. It's about you and your life. It's about setting yourself free. Free to choose your own actions or inactions. Free from dying with the regret of not even trying. Free from the prison that held you back. Free from being successful. Free to be happy knowing that you have lived a life of your own choosing. Understand that it's not the boulder that blocks your path. It's not where you came from that determines where you're going. It's not the world that is not giving you what you want. Rather, it's the attitude that you choose over and over and over again that determines your results. Everything that you are afraid of, you can overcome. You can learn how to do this through a single path. Fearlessness. It's the slight edge, a shift in your paradigm, a new way of seeing. The obstacle that you saw in your path becomes the way. The failure becomes the feedback, the pain becomes a part of the process in your path. Life that you saw as unfair and unforgiving and unfavorable becomes your greatest teacher. The world that you used to carry on your back is now at your feet. All things become possible because you are fearless. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.